Have you ever wondered why some people always seem unhappy and dissatisfied with their lives, while others are always happy, no matter what? Today, we peel back the layers of a philosophy that could shed light on this: Stoicism. It's an ancient school of thought that encourages acceptance, moderation, and virtue. But what if we told you that there are habits, anti-Stoic habits, that could be acting as roadblocks to your happiness? These habits might be more common than you think. So let's have a closer look at how they can affect your life. Let's start with the habit of complaining and blaming. Picture yourself in a scenario where you are stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. The anti-Stoic approach here would be to complain about the situation, blame the city planners, the reckless drivers, or perhaps the universe for your predicament. But what does this do? It simply fuels your frustration and solves nothing. Now, let's reimagine this scenario from a Stoic perspective. Stoics believe in accepting the things we cannot control and focusing on what we can. In this situation, you can't control the traffic, the city planners, or the drivers around you. But what you can control is how you react to the situation. Instead of complaining, a Stoic would use this time to reflect, plan, or simply relax and enjoy the music on the radio. Stoics emphasize personal responsibility. They believe that we are the architects of our own lives. So instead of blaming external circumstances, they encourage us to examine our actions and decisions. For instance, could you have left earlier to account for possible traffic? Could you have chosen a different route? This shift in perspective, from blaming others to taking responsibility, can have profound effects. It can transform feelings of anger and frustration into calm and understanding. It can turn a perceived obstacle into an opportunity for learning and growth. Consider another example. Say you've received some harsh feedback at work. The anti-Stoic habit would be to blame your boss for being unfair or your colleagues for not supporting you. But the Stoic approach would be to take this feedback on board, assess it honestly, and use it to improve. So the next time you find yourself complaining or blaming, remember the Stoic perspective. Ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? What can I learn from it? You might find that this not only reduces your stress, but also empowers you to take action and make positive changes. So, it's clear that taking responsibility instead of blaming external factors can lead to better outcomes. Next, let's talk about the pursuit of constant pleasure. Stoicism, as a philosophy, extols the virtue of moderation. It guides us to walk the middle path, to refrain from extremes. It's not about denying ourselves of joy or pleasure, but rather, it's about understanding that constant indulgence can lead to destructive behavior. Stoics teach us to enjoy life's pleasures without becoming enslaved by them. Now, let's flip the coin and look at the anti-Stoic habit of seeking constant pleasure. Picture this. You've had a long day and you decide to treat yourself to a piece of chocolate cake. It's delicious and you savor every bite. The next day you have another piece, and then another. Soon you're eating cake every day. It's no longer a treat, it's an expectation, a dependency. This constant pursuit of pleasure has a cost. Your health starts to decline, the joy you once found in that piece of cake diminishes. This is a simplified example, but it accurately illustrates the potential negative impacts of constant pleasure seeking. It highlights how our desires, when left unchecked, can lead us down a path of excess and harm. Now, let's consider a more complex scenario. Imagine you're in a relationship where you're constantly seeking to be pleased, to feel good, to avoid any discomfort or conflict. This might work for a while, but over time this can lead to an unhealthy dynamic. You might start avoiding difficult conversations, neglecting personal growth, or even distancing yourself from your partner. Here, the pursuit of constant pleasure leads to the deterioration of a meaningful relationship. So, where does this leave us? It's not about completely denying pleasures, but rather about enjoying them mindfully, in moderation. It's about recognizing that discomfort, challenge, and conflict are integral parts of life and growth. It's about understanding that the pursuit of constant pleasure can often lead us astray from a balanced and fulfilling life. Evidently, moderation, not constant indulgence, is key to a balanced life. Thirdly, let's delve into the fear of change. Stoicism, a philosophy of acceptance and resilience, embraces change as a natural and inevitable part of life. It's the ebb and flow, the rising and setting of the sun, the turning of the seasons. Stoics understand that the world around us and we ourselves are in a constant state of flux. To resist this change is to resist the very nature of existence. Picture a stream flowing freely, its course altered by the lay of the land, the fall of rain, the push of the wind. The stream does not resist these changes. It adapts, it moves, it flows. Stoics strive to be like the stream, accepting change with grace and flexibility. Now let's take a look at the anti-Stoic habit of resisting change. Imagine you're a rock in that stream, staunch against the water's flow. The water, representing life's changes, crashes against you. You stand firm, unyielding, but the water doesn't stop. It keeps coming, wearing you down, causing distress and discomfort. This is the plight of those who resist change. They become weary rocks in life's stream, constantly battered by the flow of change. Consider a person clinging to a job they despise for the fear of venturing into the unknown, or someone staying in an unhealthy relationship because they fear being alone. These are examples of resistance to change. It's a fear of the unknown, a clinging to comfort zones, a refusal to let go of what's familiar even when it's detrimental. The distress this resistance can cause is significant. It's the sleepless nights, the stress headaches, the gnawing anxiety. It's the feeling of being stuck, of life passing you by. It's the regret of missed opportunities and the dread of what might come next. But what if we could let go of that fear? What if we could embrace change not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth, for learning, for new experiences? Imagine the relief, the freedom, the excitement of stepping into the unknown, of flowing with life's stream, rather than standing against it. Thus, embracing change, not resisting it, can alleviate much of life's stress. Fourth on our list is the habit of ego-centrism. Now let's take a moment and think about the last time we were in a group setting. Can you recall someone who seemed to make every conversation about themselves? Someone who was more interested in talking about their own experiences, ideas, and achievements than listening to others? This, my friends, is a classic display of egocentrism. Egocentrism is the antithesis of one of the foundational principles of Stoicism, humility. Stoicism encourages us to recognize our place in the grand scheme of things. It's about understanding that we are just one small part of an enormous, interconnected universe. We are not the center of everything, and the world does not revolve around us. Contrast this with the anti-Stoic habit of egocentrism, which is characterized by excessive pride, arrogance, and a self-centered worldview. Egocentric individuals tend to place themselves at the center of their universe. They see their perspective as the only valid one, and they often dismiss others' views or experiences. Now, imagine a person who believes they're always the smartest in the room. They're quick to dismiss others' ideas, rarely ask for help, and are often oblivious to the impact of their actions on others. Over time, this behavior can lead to strained relationships and missed opportunities for growth and learning. But what does humility, the Stoic virtue, look like in practice? It might be as simple as acknowledging when you're wrong, or recognizing the value in others' perspectives. It could be expressing gratitude for the people and circumstances that have shaped you. And it's definitely about understanding that your experiences and knowledge are no more or less important than anyone else's. Humility doesn't mean downplaying your abilities or achievements. It's about recognizing that every person you meet knows something you don't, and every interaction is an opportunity to learn and grow. It's about being open, curious, and respectful. Clearly, humility, not arrogance, leads to a more fulfilling life. It fosters stronger relationships, creates opportunities for personal growth, and ultimately helps us become better versions of ourselves. So the next time you find yourself falling into the trap of ego-centrism, remember the Stoic virtue of humility. Let's try to listen more, learn more, and be more humble. Finally, let's look at the neglect of virtue. Virtue, in the Stoic sense, is the bedrock of our character. It's about honesty, integrity, compassion, and the many other qualities that define who we are at our core. Stoics place a high premium on these virtues, seeing them not just as moral compass points, but as a path to a fulfilled life. Contrast this with the anti-Stoic habit of sidelining virtue for short-term gains. This is like trading the foundation of a house for a fresh coat of paint. It might look good for a while, but eventually, the house will crumble. Let's consider an example. Imagine a person who lies to get ahead in their career. They might enjoy some immediate success, but what happens when the truth comes out? Their reputation takes a hit, their relationships falter, and they're left with the hollow victory of a game unfairly won. The neglect of virtue can have far-reaching consequences, not just for the individual, but for those around them. When we forsake honesty for deceit, compassion for indifference, and integrity for expediency, we erode the very fabric of our communities. It's not always easy to choose virtue over convenience or personal gain, but remember, Stoicism is not about taking the easy path, but the right one. It's about understanding that true success and satisfaction don't come from fleeting victories, but from the steady cultivation of a virtuous character. So in conclusion, prioritizing virtue over short-term gains can lead to a richer, more satisfying life. As we conclude this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions on topics you'd like us to explore further. So leave your ideas in the comments below.